Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, guys, to the broadcast. For those of you who are coming through for the first time, you are more than welcome. For those of you who keep coming, keep doing what you're doing, I love it. Guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe to this content. You can put on your notification bell so that you're notified each time we post a new video. So, guys, please check out my single. It's called Hold You by Kejavu. Kejavu is spelled Kejavu. You can also check me out on Instagram at kejavu_live. So, guys, today I want to talk about Bonga Sithole. Why is everybody talking about this gentleman, and who is this gentleman? That is what I want to cover today. So, Bonga Sithole is a gentleman who's usually on the streets by Campus Square. That's in Joburg, right? The gentleman is a vagrant who's usually, he's been on various interviews, but recently he's been making news because of a lady that has taken interest in him. Her name is Sanda Nomusa Kwabe Kotad. I hope I'm pronouncing that surname correctly. The lady is a legal and media practitioner. She's a journalist, filmmaker, who was also a Miss SA finalist 2022, and also a philanthropist. And that is evident in how she's taking in this gentleman who's obviously staying on the streets, Bonga Sithole. I've seen this guy. I mean, it's not the last few months or so he's been trending, but I've seen this guy many years ago. He's been on various interviews on TV. He was also interviewed on Kulego and Culture as a podcast. And the guy really gave, obviously, it's an interview, so there's going to be extensive questions about his life, where he comes from, and how he ended on the streets. So, just to summarize this before I break it down, Bonga Sithole is a gentleman who stays on the streets. He's very fluent in English, and that is his charm. There's a clear difference when it comes to him if you compare him to other people homeless people who stay on the streets. So there's obviously videos of him. People just like taking videos of him because of how he speaks English. He's also a very bubbly personality. Sounds very smart. And yeah, so people take interest. They're fascinated by this person, who's this homeless person who can speak English so eloquently. And there's been various videos about him, and one in particular woman, this Sanda Kwabe, has taken interest to and committed to helping him better his life. And we've seen his journey on social media. He was trending with all the activities. He's got a dream of being a radio jockey, and they've been basically just helping him pursue that. Social media has exposed him to so many things. I've seen a couple of videos of him doing voiceovers. Yes, like I said, he was on Kulego in Culture. It's one of South Africa's biggest podcasts at the moment. Just sharing extensively on his life. And I just want to say this, guys. We can talk about Bonga Sithole, but there must be a lesson in all of this. What I want to say is that, have you realized that whenever somebody is in trouble, whenever a man's life is not correct, there's always family problems. And mostly at the top, it's always a male who's the reason. And guys, we can talk about politics, we can talk about education, we can talk about all sorts of things, but I believe if we fix the family structure, we would have healed our communities, we would have healed South Africa. And we need to zoom in on the male, because the male is usually the reason the family breaks apart most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. It's either a father who was passed on, which is the case with Bonga Sithole. His father passed on. He was a successful business taxi man, and he was murdered. We all know the story of taxis in South Africa. There's been a lot of people who died. They get shot because of competition and all of that. So Bonga Sithole is one of the victims of that. And then his mom had a relationship with her stepdad who didn't like him, really hated him, and he fled home and went to stay on the streets because he didn't get the love at home. And also there were threats that if we were to rise and follow in his dad's footsteps, they would also kill him. So that's how I ended on the streets. And obviously, I mean, there's a lot of things that one experiences on the streets: the judgment, the harsh words, because you're a beggar, right? As a vagrant, you are begging, and people are not always nice to you. So you hear all those negative things, and they must take its toll on your emotions and on your soul, as you feel like a reject. You have to be tough. So as much as you see this guy is very bubbly and he looks very happy, but there must be a lot of emotional scarring inside. People find drugs to numb themselves and all sorts of things. And now you're a homeless person who's also now developed an addiction. So he's discovered by this lady who really tries to help him, and eventually he goes to rehab. He's also been arrested for a possession of heroin. He spent several months in jail. The guy was keen to turn his life around. There were all these opportunities lined up for him, so he just needed to clean himself out, clean his system out, get himself out of drugs. And you could see that Sisanda, the lady who's helping him, was very excited about this journey, documenting it via videos on social media and all sorts of things. The progress, the interviews that Bonga was going to, the voiceovers, and all sorts of things. They were all, happy. And eventually, he goes to rehab. And recently, which is the reason why Bonga is trending, he's checked himself out of rehab, and he says that he wants to pursue a spiritual journey. My thoughts on this, guys, we have to be realistic here. You can't just expect a person who's spent more than 15 years on the streets to just turn his life around in a month. Like, it seems like everything now is just ready and waiting for him. But remember, he's been on the streets for 15 years. He's used to his freedom. All of a sudden, he's locked in. Now he has to face reality that he's addicted, because you don't really realize that how hooked you are until you are told to just stop whatever substance that you depend on or whatever addiction that you have. So he had to face reality for a couple of days. He was happy, and I mean, this was like a honeymoon phase, always with this woman exposing him and giving him all this better life. And sometimes, remember, guys, people who are in need, they'll do whatever what you ask them to do, because at that time you have something that they need. You're either providing food, money, clothing, and warmth that they don't usually have on the streets. And for some time, he's taking a break from that. But everybody loves their independence. I don't care how poor you are. You love to be in charge of your own life. And at some point, this all becomes all too much and all too suffocating, whatever it is. Suppose he was at rehab, he was away from all of that. Those guys are professionals, they know what to do. But this was all happening in the public eye. There's so much pressure on the guy. Imagine now him coming back on the streets. His life has changed completely. He's a famous vagrant now. He is famous, and his life will never be the same. And as much as this has always been his dream to be a public figure, there's so much that he has to deal with, and so much he has to break down and understand about the world now he's gotten himself into. I think it's all too much, and it may be all too overwhelming and all too soon. And I don't have answers. The guy just needs to realize that he needs to fight for his life. And I'm sure there's hope for him, but I'm not sure if all of this happening in the public eye is good for him, because he also deals with so much. I mean, there's people who don't have the addictions that he has, the challenges that he have, who are celebrities who can't take it. I mean, combine all of that all at once. The fact that he's got so many scars from his childhood. He was staying on the streets, and now all of a sudden everybody's in his face. He's a he's a star. I mean, I think it's all too much. And I think maybe they need to start the same journey now and do it privately. He maybe needs to go off the radar for a while to just discover himself and find his strength in that which he wants to do. Because at this point, it's been handed to him. He has to be hungry for it himself. He has to realize that he needs help. He has to realize that he needs to get out of drugs himself on his own. It's all good, and he understands it when other people tell him, but it has to be something that he has to hunger for, himself. And I think that's the only way that this guy would be helped. I haven't lost hope. I think you can still turn things around. And yeah, guys, please let me know what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.